mira, vosotros sabéis la situación y va a cambiar. No sé si es 24 horas, en 48 horas, la situación va a cambiar y es bueno para todos. La salida es de un entrenador, claro. Y también yo creo que del jugador, del propio jugador que sabe la situación.
Right, so that's one side of the story. Here's the other. Of course, Jonathan Barnett, Gareth Bale's agent. Zidane is a disgrace to speak like that about someone who has done so much for Real. If and when Bale goes, it is because he wants to, not because Zidane pushed him. I don't know if Madrid are working on this, Barnett continued. I certainly am. He's still one of the best players in the world, one of the top 5, and his future will continue at a great club. Let's start with the back and forth, Shaka. Jonathan Barnett, obviously your former agent. Was he right there to call what Zidane said yesterday a disgrace?
What Zidane did or said yesterday is not a disgrace, by any measure, no. But at the same time, all Jonathan Barnett is doing, and more and more become convinced that it's a good agent trying to represent a bad client who's very well paid as best he can. So I understand and sympathize with what Jonathan Barnett said in that statement. But at the same time, what Zidane said is, along with from being a disgrace, is just honest. And again, his only interest is for the club.
You don't feel like Zidane's being too harsh here?
No, I think the only thing he could be more honest about is to say, it's nothing personal. I just don't fancy him as a player. I don't think he's a very good player.
He's effectively said that, though, right?
Yeah, but he hasn't actually said that. He said that, because everybody thinks it's something personal. He's really got to say, I don't fancy him as a player. I can't see where he's going to fit in the side. I don't think he's good at this, maybe not. But I think it comes down to Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale, if he wants to finish his career on a high, he's got to take a wage cut and go to a big club. He can still be, he's certainly not one of the top 5 players in the world. He could still be a very good player if he takes a pay cut, because none of the big clubs are going to take him on the wage he's being paid at the moment. And that's why he can't move. That's why he can't do the things that he wants to do. And that's why Real Madrid can't get rid of him. He's on too much money.
I think the other thing you have to keep in mind, and which Jonathan Barnett does not touch on, is that this isn't new. This isn't over the last 24, 48 hours. This goes back to the Champions League final of 2 years ago when they won, and Gareth Bale in the post-game interview saying that he's looking for a way out under Zidane. Then all of a sudden Zidane unexpectedly walks away and the situation changes. So just as Gareth Bale owed Zidane nothing in terms of his own statement at that time, I don't see why Zidane needs to pull any punches this time around either.
Why is Bale staying then?
Because he won't take a pay cut. He's quite happy to sit in the reserves or sit on the bench and not and earn the money.
Do you judge him for that? You look as a footballer.
When you sign a 5-year contract, you think that's the contract you're going to sort of stick to, and you hope the club would go with it as well. But he's not liked by Zidane, or thought of as a top-class player by Zidane. He can't get into the side. So at some point he has to say, well, I've earned enough money. I want to go and finish my career on a high. I want to be thought of as a great player come the end of my career, rather than it peter out. So he's got to take that pay cut, and he's got to go to a club where he's going to play week in, week out, and prove again that he can be a world-class player, because the last 2-3 years, that's not been the case.
What are you doing in that situation? You taking the pay cut?
Yes, I would, because
really?
In the end, in our time, the money wasn't so great, so you wouldn't be able to do that. But when you're earning £17 million a year, and you have been for the last 3 or 4 years, you saying to me that you haven't got enough money to just take maybe a 50% pay cut for the last 3 or 4 years of your career?
For more, sign up now for ESPN Plus.